Hello and welcome back to Cyber Mutation. Today we'll discuss that what are the types of email, what is email system, what is email security, and what are the email attacks done, which is basically email spoofing, where you use someone else's email ID to send a mail without their account. So firstly, let's proceed and understand that how email system works. Email system has main three components, which is a mailer, mail server, and mailbox. The mailer stands for the person who is handling his account and who is sending a mail. Then we have a mail server, which is responsible for carrying that mail over to the user who is in his mail server or another mail server and transport it over there. And mailbox is a place where you can receive your emails. Now, if you want to see that how email works, so email is comprises of three main protocols, which is SMTP, IMAP, and POP. So firstly, let's assume that a user is writing an email, and then he will click send. Then the mail will be forwarded to the SMTP server, which is known as mail server. From there, it will be transported to the recipient's SMTP server, and then for accessing the emails, IMAP and POP protocol will be used. And right now we are using POP3 protocol in the industry and real world. So this is a scenario: you write an email, it will go to SMTP server, then the SMTP server will know the address of another DNS server, and from DNS it will go to again SMTP server, and from there the recipient will receive the email. This is a graphical view that when the email ID is different, then how this DNS server gets involved in the transmission. It does not grow from SMTP server to another SMTP server. First the sender will send mail to his server, then his server will discover the address from domain name system server, which is known as DNS, and from there it will go to receiver side, and then receiver can receive the email. Now we have two types of IP address. First is generic, where you get email ID from your university or your school or your office. For example, user@facebook.com. While non-generic is when you make your email ID on free platforms like Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, Hotmail, etc. One of the best is ProtonMail, which has less security, but it is a bit of untraceable. Now, there are few attacks which a person can do, which is email spoofing, which means basically changing our identity. Email spoofing, we can change our original email address and use anyone's email ID to send the mail, without requirement of the password, as I have stated before also. So this is a site from where you can spoof the email ID you want. You can send the email from a bank, you can send email from a university from this site. It looks something like this: EMKEI's mailer, where you have to enter the name and email ID of which ID you want to send. If you want to send a message from Harvard University, then you have to write the email ID of Harvard over here, and in to field you have to write the email ID where you want to send the email, and in subject and text you can enter, and then you can just click next. Now this was all about attacking, but how we can analyze that email is fresh or spoofed? So for that we can perform email header analysis. Firstly, what are email headers? To know what are email headers, we will go on a mail. This is an email sent by Google community team. Now, if you want to see that what is a header, then just click on this three dots and go to show original. Click over there, and here you can see this thing is the header of email. It contains all the content which is in the email and information required to transfer the email. Now, to analyze this header manually is very hard, so for that we have some tools. First, we'll copy this content from start to the end, and we'll just copy it. And now we'll go to a tool which is known as MX toolbox, email header analyzer, and we'll go on this site and just paste your header over here and give analyze header. Now it will show that what type of alignments and authentication is done and what are not done. So right now it shows that SPF and senders policy framework and is authentication and alignment is done properly. DKIM alignment is also done, but DKIM authentication is missing. So the thing is that if one or two fields are red marked, then it is fine. But if you are seeing that whole email is red marked, then there are chances that the email ID might be spoofed. So this is a thing which you should keep in your mind, and you should always analyze your headers on this link, which is MX Toolbox.